7 signs someone doesn't like you, but is hiding it. Have you ever had that gut feeling that someone just doesn't like you, but they're doing a really good job at hiding it? It can be tricky because often people don't want to openly show their dislike. Instead, they mask their true feelings, leaving us confused and second-guessing our instincts. But what if I told you there are subtle signs you can look out for that reveal their true feelings? Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we're diving into a topic that many of us have faced at some point, figuring out when someone doesn't like you but is keeping it under wraps. In this video, I'll share 7 clear signs that someone might be hiding their true feelings towards you. These aren't just surface-level hints. They're real, observable behaviors that can give you the clarity you need to understand where you stand. Knowing these signs can help you protect your emotional well-being, avoid one-sided relationships, and set boundaries with people who don't have your best interests at heart. So grab a seat and stick around until the end. You won't want to miss any of these signs. And hey, if you've experienced any of these behaviors before or want to share your thoughts, be sure to drop a comment below. Let's get right into it. 1. Lack of engagement in conversations. This one really hit home for me with a close friend, or at least someone I thought was a close friend. We used to chat all the time, but suddenly our conversations felt like I was pulling teeth. Whenever I shared something exciting about my day, I'd get responses like, "Oh, cool," or worse, just a thumbs up emoji. They never asked follow-up questions or showed interest in what I was saying. It became increasingly clear that they were just going through the motions of the conversation. I kept hoping it was just a phase, but over time, I realized that our friendship wasn't what it used to be. It was tough, but recognizing their lack of engagement helped me adjust my expectations and invest more time in friendships where I felt truly valued. When someone doesn't like you, they often keep conversations short and shallow. You might notice they only respond with minimal answers or rarely ask follow-up questions. Conversations with them can feel like you're pulling teeth to keep it going, as they seem to lack genuine interest in what you have to say. Another sign is that they may change topics quickly or steer conversations back to surface-level matters. Even in group settings, they might pretend to be interested, but if they don't engage with you one-on-one, it's a sign they're not invested in building a deeper connection. Pay attention to how often they initiate conversations with you versus how often you're the one starting them. Now, I know that recognizing these signs can be tough because, let's face it, most people won't outright tell you if they don't like you. They might continue to act friendly on the surface, but their subtle behaviors often tell a different story. The key is to pick up on these small cues without overanalyzing every interaction. Remember, no one's perfect and not everyone will get along, and that's completely okay. By being aware of these signs, you'll be better equipped to navigate your relationships confidently and protect your emotional space. So let's continue with the most common yet easily overlooked one. Body language. 2. Subtle body language. Body language is often the first thing that gives away how someone really feels, even if they're trying to hide it. I remember once when I was part of a new group project at work, there was this one colleague who always seemed to cross his arms whenever I was talking. At first, I thought maybe it was just his usual posture, but over time, I noticed he would relax around others, leaning forward, making eye contact, and smiling. But when I joined the conversation, the crossing of arms, the avoidance of eye contact, it all returned. It was then I realized that his body language wasn't just a coincidence. Although he never said anything outright, his demeanor around me was noticeably different from how he acted with others. I had to accept that he wasn't as open to me as he was with the rest of the group, even though he was polite on the surface. Body language can be a major giveaway of someone's true feelings, even when they're trying to hide it. If someone doesn't like you, they might subconsciously exhibit closed-off body language around you. Signs to watch for include crossed arms, avoiding eye contact, or leaning away from you during conversations. You might also notice a lack of genuine smiles or forced nods that seem insincere. Unlike a real smile that involves the eyes, a fake smile can appear stiff or strained. Take note of their posture when they interact with others compared to when they're around you. If they seem relaxed with everyone else but tense up when you're near, this might be a red flag. Just remember, It's important to observe these signals over time to spot a pattern rather than jumping to conclusions based on a single interaction. 3. Forced niceness. When someone doesn't like you but is hiding it, they might go out of their way to act overly nice. This forced friendliness can sometimes be an attempt to cover up their true feelings. However, this kind of behavior often feels exaggerated or unnatural, as if they're trying too hard. For example, they might give you over-the-top compliments that feel empty, or shower you with praise in situations where it's not warranted. This can be a way of keeping things pleasant on the surface while avoiding any genuine connection. Over time, you might notice that their niceness seems more like an obligation than an expression of warmth. Forced niceness is a tricky one because it can easily be mistaken for genuine friendliness. I once had a colleague who went out of their way to compliment me, but it always felt over the top. They'd say things like, "Wow, that's the best idea I've ever heard," with a smile that didn't quite reach their eyes. It was as if they were trying too hard to be nice, and it came off as insincere. For a while, I appreciated the compliments, but something just felt off. Later, I learned from mutual friends that they were saying quite different things behind my back. The forced niceness was just a cover for how they really felt about me. That experience taught me to look past the words and pay more attention to the energy behind them. 4. Avoiding personal topics. There was a time when I tried to get to know a new acquaintance better. I would ask about their interests, hobbies, and family, trying to find some common ground. But every time, they would steer the conversation back to safer topics like the weather or work. At first, I thought they were just private, but then I noticed they were perfectly willing to share personal stories with others. It became obvious that they were keeping me at arm's length, not wanting to build a deeper connection. It wasn't that they were a private person, they just didn't want to be personal with me. This realization saved me from putting effort into a friendship that wasn't going to go anywhere. People who don't like you typically avoid discussing anything personal. They keep interactions strictly surface level and shy away from conversations that could create a deeper bond. If they steer conversations toward general topics or seem uncomfortable when you bring up personal matters, this could be a subtle sign. For instance, if you start talking about your family, hobbies, or goals, and they immediately change the subject or seem disinterested, it indicates they aren't looking to establish a deeper connection. They may also avoid sharing details about their own life, maintaining a certain distance to keep you out of their personal circle. 5. They don't make time for you. One of the most telling signs that someone doesn't like you is their unwillingness to make time for you. They might constantly come up with excuses for why they're too busy or cancel plans at the last minute. If they rarely, if ever, initiate hangouts or only include you in group activities when it's unavoidable, it's a sign they may be avoiding one-on-one time with you. This one really stung. I had a friend I used to hang out with all the time, but suddenly they were always too busy. They would cancel plans at the last minute or say, "Let's definitely meet up soon," but never actually commit to a date. I saw them making time for other friends, going to parties, and even posting about their adventures on social media. Eventually, I accepted that they were intentionally avoiding me. It wasn't about them being busy. It was about them choosing not to make time for me. It was hard to swallow, but it also helped me prioritize people who genuinely wanted to be in my life. It's important to distinguish between someone who has a genuinely busy schedule and someone who is actively avoiding spending time with you. Look for patterns. If they seem to have time for others but consistently don't for you, it may be time to reconsider your expectations of that relationship. 6. Lack of support or encouragement. When someone doesn't like you, they often won't show genuine support for your achievements or goals. You might notice that when you share good news, they give you a half-hearted "congratulations" or quickly change the subject. Their lack of enthusiasm or support is a key indicator that they don't have a positive interest in your well-being. At times, their comments might even include hints of sarcasm or passive aggressiveness. For example, when you mention a new project you're excited about, they might respond with, "Well, I hope it works out this time." This kind of underhanded remark is a subtle way of expressing their true feelings while still maintaining an outwardly polite demeanor. When I started a new project that I was really passionate about, I eagerly shared my progress with a friend. Their response? A quick, "Oh, "That's nice," followed by a change of topic. There was no excitement, no follow-up questions, and certainly no encouragement. I didn't expect a pep rally, but the lack of even the smallest show of support was a clear sign. Later, I noticed how supportive they were of other people's achievements, cheering them on and offering help. It became obvious that their lack of enthusiasm toward my efforts wasn't due to indifference. They simply weren't invested in me. Recognizing this helped me seek support from people who genuinely cared. 7. Frequent microaggressions. This is one I've experienced more times than I'd like to admit. There was a colleague who would always make joking comments that somehow managed to cut a little too deep. Things like, "Wow, you're actually on time today," or "Look who finally decided to dress up." These backhanded remarks were always delivered with a laugh, but they made me feel uneasy. At first, I brushed them off as harmless jokes, but over time the pattern became clear. These weren't jokes, they were subtle jabs expressing their true feelings. Recognizing these microaggressions allowed me to distance myself from the negativity and stop taking their comments to heart. Microaggressions are subtle insults or passive-aggressive remarks that people use to indirectly express their dislike. They might give you backhanded compliments, like saying, "Wow, you actually did a good job on this," or make snide comments disguised as jokes. These small digs can leave you feeling uneasy, but they're often masked as humor or just being honest. Pay attention to how often these microaggressions occur. If they make you the punchline of their jokes or constantly throw in subtle put-downs, it could be their way of expressing their dislike without being overt about it. While everyone can make offhand comments occasionally, a pattern of these remarks indicates an underlying issue. It's never easy to realize that someone doesn't like you, especially when they try to hide it behind a facade of politeness or friendliness. I've been through these experiences myself, and each time it was tough. But recognizing these signs helped me set healthier boundaries and focus on relationships that truly matter. If you've noticed any of these signs, take it as an opportunity to reassess your relationships. Not everyone will like us, and that's completely okay. By being aware of these subtle cues, you can protect your emotional well-being and surround yourself with those who genuinely support and value you. Now that I've shared my experiences, what about you? Have you ever picked up on these signs? Let's chat about it in the comments. For the next video, I'm thinking about diving into how to react when someone doesn't like you in a stoic way. If that's something you'd be interested in, let me know. Hit the like button, leave a comment below, and if enough of you want to hear about it, I'll be sure to make that the topic of the next video. Your feedback means everything and helps me create content that you find valuable. Thanks for sticking around. And don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss out on more insights like this. Until next time, stay strong and stay true to yourself.